Y'all, shout out to you for pulling up to the last week in April. OMG, y'all.
Last week in
Woo!
April. My God.
April 2022, y'all. But as you already know, welcome to our Tuesday lives with Tray and Jea. I am Tray.
Hey. Hey, MJ.
And listen, we have been talking about quite a bit of things this month, and I'm just here like, wow, it's the last one of this topic. And as you already know, I always shoot it over this way to Janelle so she could let us know what we're talking about. But I'm just like, wow, it's a month away from this is the last month. This is the last month that I will not be married, y'all. Crazy. And so that is stunning. But I'm going to hand it over to Janelle in just a second, but make sure that you are liking, commenting, subscribing, because as you already know, on this channel, we share our lives to encourage others to love Jesus, to love themselves, and to love others well. Okay, so this on tonight, y'all, we capping it with a little bow. We gift wrapping that joint with a little bow. All right, let me pass it over to Janelle, who's gonna let us know what we're talking about.
Yeah, so as Trey was saying, we spoke about quite a bit of things, but it all was within the topic of dating with purpose. We were saying that we said a few times that dating is one of the fundamental building blocks of life, really, because in society, because who you date is who you eventually marry, and who you marry is who you have children. And some people delete the marriage part, which I get. My parents did. So who you date, you have children with, or some most of the time. Obviously, there's always different scenarios, but who you date is who you marry. Who you marry is who you have children with, and who you have children with are soup. Like, it's important because you're building these little humans,
Yep.
and they go out into society and run things or not. They contribute or not. So dating is so important. Yes, it can be fun, but also, like, y'all, it's a responsibility. And so we talked about different things this month. The first one was when is the best time to date and why are you dating? Like, let's talk about when and why, because we need to know why you're dating, not just because I'm bored or I want attention. Trust and believe, I did that too.
Oh,
I,
absolutely.
I did that, so you're not alone if you did that. But there was a point when I said, okay, Janelle, you can't not just date to date. You got to have good reasons to date. And so after a while, I was dating because I wanted to get married and not because I just wanted the attention of a guy. So there was that, right? And then it was like, when should I date? Should I date now? Is this a good time for me to date? And there was times that I said, no, this is not a good time. I had to be real with myself and say, this is not a
Mhm.
good time for me to date because I'm heartbroken, or I just started school, or maybe somebody in my family just died, or I don't know, I'm not in the right headspace and heart space. Especially when I was starting a relationship with Jesus and getting serious with him, it was like, I'm just trying to get, what is going on with my life. Let me stop and breathe and focus on me. So there was that. So second week, we talked about misogyny and dating. Like, what
Mm.
is that all about? Unfortunately, that is a thing. And you know what? I didn't even look it up. What is the word when women are hating on men? Because that
I,
happens too.
I I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even
That
know.
happens too. So misogyny and dating, a lot of times we see all these things like Kevin Samuels, and these videos that go viral with men saying, "Oh, when you get your degree and you make a certain amount of money, nobody wants you." Wrong. You know, um, but they might as well just say like, "Hey, I have issues with women," or maybe I have issues with my mom.
Mm,
Be real. So this is the
mm,
stuff that we talked about with
mm.
Xavier in week 2. Week 3 was so bomb. Last week we talked to Rebecca. She is the co-author of a book called Biblical F Boys,
I
the
love
guide to
it.
the guide to spotting them a mile away. And what we talked about was not like, we weren't bashing men. We were talking about, let's learn from the men in the Bible. Let's learn from Jonah. Let's learn from King Samuel. King Samuel, King Solomon. Let's learn from King David. Let's learn from these men who's like made or women who's made lots of mistakes, especially in their relationships. So that was so good. Y'all want to check out all three of those episodes. And then now we're here today to talk about what we've learned in our history of dating. Whoo, there's a lot that we learned, child. It's a lot that we learned. And y'all could probably say the same thing. I know it. So if you are willing, please share in the comments. We want to hear all about your stories because
There is such stories, y'all.
the stories are real. The stories are real. So, Trey, you want to go first so I can catch my breath?
So let me tell you one thing. Um, so I know I say this plenty of times, but I really mean it. And one thing that I wish that I knew was they just don't like me. Like I needed to be real about that.
Their actions show that.
Yeah, like I get stunned. It stuns me time and time again how even in the most rawest moment, in the most inopportune, super uncute, um, uh, super emo or super shut down version or super excited version of me, it's like you still want to be around me. Like that's so wow. That is definitely stunning in such a beautiful way, but I think when it comes to the things that I've learned, that has to be hands down the number one lesson. Like these people did not like you, Trey, and it's nothing wrong with them. It's nothing wrong with them not wanting to like be with you, but it was just because I had this expectation of like, yo, like I'm dope, like, and you are, like, I am, but at the same time, it's like you don't like me because you're not communicative. You don't circle back. You don't call back. You don't. It's crickets. It's dry. It's so many different things, and I do believe that was probably the hardest lesson for me to recognize was the fact that everybody's not going to like me, and everybody I'm not for everybody. I knew that, but at the same time I'm like, but why can't I be?
A harsh
Like,
reality. It's a harsh reality,
yeah,
right?
like why can't I be for everybody where I could just be like, you know what, like we vibing. um and so that was a real frustrating piece of dating and getting to know people and realizing that the Lord is the ultimate cock blocker.
For good
Which is
reason. For good
great.
reason.
Right. I'm like, which is great because you don't want to just be with any old body, but there was definitely a point. I want to say it had to be like the last 6 months no, maybe like the last 2 years. No, I would say last 6 months to a year of right before I met my fiance, for me to be like, this is exhausting. I'm tired. I just want anybody at this point. Like I'm kind of just like, just put me with somebody. And I'm grateful the Lord did not do that. But I'm very much so grateful. But yes. Oh yes, you can come. But but it was just really frustrating to wait, and I'll pause there. It was definitely, definitely. So yeah.
So when I think about my dating history, I actually was thinking about it more since I'm writing I'm writing a book and I feel like it's literally my entire life, but I'm supposed to be talking about Jesus as my father, like God as my father, and my relationship with my earthly physical dad. I don't know what you want to call it. But dating, it just had to be in there because I saw, like Tracy said, I saw God cock block, but I saw, but in that, I saw his heart for me. and his love for me, and what he wanted was the best for me, and I didn't know what was best for me. And so as I was growing and becoming stronger in him and just learning as a woman, there was some things that I didn't know that I had to realize and I had to learn. And so when I think about my dating history, I can go all the way back to my first boyfriend. We're not gonna go to everything, but everybody, because that's a lot. But like, I just learned from when I think about my first boyfriend to my husband now, like they liked me, but I had to learn how to pick better. And so, like, first, my first boyfriend, I was 14, I was young. Honestly, I'll tell you exactly what I said. I said, he likes me, I don't really like him, but I'm bored and everybody else has a boyfriend. So, all right, I'll get with him. That sounds so bad. And he wasn't ugly. He's a good-looking guy. I just had this very what is it called? This very jaded mindset that, what's the point of dating so young? We're not going to last.
Wow, I feel like everybody in like middle school, high school thought that was their boyfriend
I was
forever.
telling
That was
everybody,
gonna be
y'all
you're
not
gonna
gonna
get
last.
married. That's
They
crazy.
thought that, and I remember telling people like, "Y'all not getting married. Y'all not gonna last. So you going mad hard for somebody that you're not even gonna be thinking about in a few years." So I told
Wow.
him, "This
Such
is what
forward thinking at 13, at
I was."
12.
But it's because I saw too much. That's a whole nother topic. Actually, it's not a whole nother topic. It really does affect this. And so my dating experiences, that just shows my dating was affected by what I learned from my dad and how he treated me and how he treated my mom. What I saw my mom do, I saw my family dynamics. Like all these things contribute to how you live your life and how you choose. So for a long time, I would say fast forward to my boyfriend after that high school, same high school. I actually really wanted to be with him. We got together. I had a crush on him. He was my friend and I had a crush on him. And next I thought, yo, he's cute. He wanted to be with me too. So we were together. I lost my virginity. Lost. I chose to lose my virginity. I gave up my virginity to him.
Yes.
And the lesson I learned in that was it really is important to actually like wait for marriage. Like I know it sounds for some people it sounds like a fairy tale, like that's impossible, but he when you're 19, do you really expect somebody to have the fortitude? I was 19 when this happened, and I'll tell you what happens. To have the fortitude and the discipline to not see other women and want to be with them when you're a freshman in high school and college. So we were together for all these years, like 2 or 3 years, went to college, and he went buck wild and started sleeping with all these women, well, girls, high school, college students, freshmen, sophomores. And I was hurt. Like I was holding on to that thing for a long time. And I didn't even realize until I was like 29, 30. Like I was holding on to that until I actually went to Momentum where I met Tracy. I
Yeah.
realized, oh, you're still like not trusting
Like you're
because of,
still seeing people in that same vision with that same
and it wasn't
perspective of
only
this is
him,
what you would do to me,
right? This is
or
a
this is
possibility.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I didn't know.
yeah,
And it wasn't only him, it was my father because I didn't trust my dad because he wasn't always around. He didn't treat my mom the way she should have been treated, but then also she's the one that accepted certain things. I mean, there's a lot that y'all, I know y'all can relate to this. I'm not saying things that people can't relate to.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So all of these things I learned, and I had to learn like, oh wow, he was 19, you were like 18, and y'all both had no business to be in such a very serious relationship. You gave your body and your heart to this guy, and he couldn't really hold it well. He wasn't trustworthy to hold it, but he also was 19. Some people get married at 19 and some people are mature enough. We weren't.
Yeah, yeah,
We weren't.
yeah.
So like that was a big lesson. I learned so much from that relationship, that giving your body as a gift to somebody who can't handle it, one is your fault. Like if you didn't get raped, That sounds horrible, but
Mhm.
it's something you chose. And I forgave myself. You know, I wasn't condemning myself. I forgave myself. Um, but that was something I learned. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And not only that, I gave my heart. It wasn't only my body, because if it was my body, yes, it would have been one thing. But you know how it is to be with somebody, Trey, that you didn't maybe sleep with, but your heart was like all entangled with. It hurts still. It hurts
Yeah,
still.
it's a hurt. It's a hurt that I think that people don't normally understand because
Yeah,
you don't normally have space to express the hurt, the levels of hurt, the levels of disappointment, because
hmm.
the expectation is like that wasn't your man though, but we were doing so many boyfriend and girlfriend things
Oh, that's another
because
way to put it. Yeah.
yeah, because we were doing so many boyfriend and girlfriend things, my heart became so vulnerably attached to this person. And it's not necessarily based on you and this person carrying a particular title together. It's really a matter of like the depth of that relationship, and that
Absolutely.
relationship may very well be deep without the boyfriend and girlfriend title,
Or
but
the
it's
physical
difficult.
connection.
Yeah, it's difficult to understand from other people when people are like, why are you crying about this, or why are you upset about this, or why are you so tight about this, or whatever. And it's like, because we were in a relationship but not really.
And that's the thing. So there's that way of putting it. And I actually was in a relationship, but it still didn't make a difference because we weren't mature enough to handle that, you know? So yeah, there's so many levels to learning how to choose better. And so that was one of the main things that God showed me. Like, Janelle, you choose better when you become better. You choose better when your mindset matures, and you're gonna choose based off of who you are. So who you become is
Hmm.
very important.
Hmm.
You know, is and it's funny how a lot of our friends, or even and myself as well, we want us, well, before I got married, we want a particular type of guy. But then when you think about it, does that type of guy want you? Are you the type of girl,
I,
a
and
woman that
and
he wants?
also and also
So
and also the ideas around like I want that as that type of guy, but it's like sometimes that kind of like makes me a bit weary of that kind of statement,
what do you
because
mean?
when I say, yo, I want that type of guy, why? Do I want that type of guy? Because in my mind, that would now absolve me from hurt and frustration and stuff like that. Like, you're still going, it's still a human person who is sinful. And so you are going to still like, you might, butt heads on certain things, but that doesn't mean that you're clashing on everything. You know what I'm saying? So when I hear people talk about like I want that type of person, it's like a part of me is, oh, it normally starts off with the question of, are you though?
Are you what, that type of person?
If you are saying I want a person who's going to be patient with me, are you patient with yourself? Are
Right.
you patient with other people?
Right.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be perfect, no one's
No,
saying that,
absolutely not.
or even that this person wouldn't bring out certain things within you, and or awaken things within you. But it's really questionable when it's like, yo, what exactly are you looking for? It to me, it's likened to that idea of, I'll be great at that destination, I'll be happy at that particular destination. And it's like,
No.
no, it's not
No,
about the
sir.
destination ever. It's never about the destination, because you get to the destination and you're like, all right, what's next? It's always, it's no, it's like, it's truly about the process by which you get to one, and then the process by which you get to the next, and then the process by which you get to the, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not necessarily the promised land, because you're the same person as the Israelites, who would have been like, well, we're here, but I actually want what we had before. And it's like we were
Mhm.
enslaved. Did you not
So yeah,
like
that's
that?
a topic, y'all. When you get a chance,
But
check out so it's the ending of Genesis, and it's Deuteronomy, and yeah, all of that book, and it's about like what Tracy said, it's the children of Israel who were enslaved in Egypt. God took them out of that through the leading of Moses. You probably heard of Moses before, maybe not the story, but check that out. And because their journey out of it's so wow. I was thinking about it today. Their journey out of slavery into the promised land, like freedom, was supposed to be only 11-day journey. 11 days. So that's what, a week and a few days, and it turned into
mhm.
40 years. Let that sink in. 40 years.
Something that could, like, honestly, something that
That
it could have
happens so
been,
much.
yeah, oh yeah, to everybody.
It's such a good story, y'all, and there's so much lessons to be learned. And I even look at dating like that for me. Like, I think that, I don't know this to be true because God didn't tell me this, but sometimes I think, I wonder if God would have allowed me to get married earlier if I would have learned my lessons earlier.
Mm,
I don't know. Only God
mm.
knows. And that's not only the case for dating or marriage, but like other things in life. Like if I would have obeyed and listened and like not complained. I mean, you could complain, but like don't like have a heart of complaint. Like all these things that I learned in my history of dating, like if I would have learned that earlier and actually like submitted earlier to God and like paid attention and like did what he wanted me to do, I wonder if I would have been on my 11-day journey or would I have been on my 40-day journey.
And
It's
I think
crazy.
another, oh, I didn't know that you were.
No, I'm done. I said it's just crazy.
Oh, yeah. Another thing that I would say I have learned is that it is totally necessary for you to be yourself.
Yeah.
It is totally necessary for you to take time between relationships. I know
Please take time.
everybody doesn't have the same amount of time stamp. So it's not necessarily like, yo, you must take a year or you must take 6 months or you must take 3 months. But I would say you must take alone time because there is where the Lord is leading you. And I'm not saying that means he doesn't lead you in a relationship. I'm just saying that's where he is like leading you to be like truly dependent on him to understand yourself. One thing that we always talk about is being radically self aware. And the Lord has called us to all be radically self aware. But the reality is, we rob ourselves the opportunity to be radically self-aware if we consistently jump from one relationship to the next relationship to the next relationship to the next relationship without recognizing that I'm the common denominator as to why I need to even jump from one to the next to the next to the next to the next.
Why
And
it's absolutely unhealthy. Yeah.
apart from it being unhealthy, aren't you exhausted?
Right.
You
I'm
know,
too
like,
exhausted.
aren't you tired?
Because
Like,
I'm tired just thinking about it.
yeah, like that
I've
just
I've
is
had a friend that
crazy.
I thought that. Like a few people I always thought like, how you always end up with somebody? First of all, where you finding them? Because I don't find like
No, no, right. And it's
second of
like
all, like,
it's
yo, you not tired? Because when you have to
right.
always give, like to be in a proper
Yes.
relationship, you have to
Yes.
give as well.
And you're doing so much activity of getting to know, of learning, of changing certain things within yourself, adjusting certain things within yourself, because every relationship ain't gonna take you the same exact way. You know what I'm saying? So certain things that worked in one relationship may not necessarily work in the other relationship. And so it's a matter of like, I know people, I mean, I can't tell y'all that I wasn't one of them people at some point or another, but I know people get so tired of being single. And for me, it wasn't even like it wasn't even like I wasn't having fun with my life. Like my life has been fun, you know? The Lord made sure of it because he knows me. He knows the moment that joint look hella dry and hella whack, I am now on the flip side and I'm like, all right, who am I calling? Who am I talking to? Like, get me out of here because this is for the birds. But being able to actually have fun, like with myself, with friends, with other people, with my community at church, at work, like being able to engage other people, get to know. That really all came through me being single and trying to find myself, which is finding the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Like, so deepening
Yeah.
my relationship with Him. And I will never say I will never stop saying how valuable that time was to me. And there were so many points where it's like, this sucks, like, or so many
Yeah.
times I'm like, yes, girl, because I don't gotta worry about none of these things, with none of these jokers out here and nothing like that. But then it's like there comes a point, at least for me, there came a point where I was just like, all right, Lord, um I think we good on this part. You know what I'm saying? Like I do want to be with someone, but I just didn't. And any time that I tried to just be with anyone, because that definitely did happen. When I tried to just be with anyone, it was like there was this itch that just and
Hmm.
that was the Holy Spirit
Hmm.
convicting me like, girl, it ain't. It's not. I
Look,
know you want it to be, but it's not.
that ain't it. You ever feel
That
like
ain't it.
this consistent like hello, like nugging, like
Right. And
tugging, I
and
should
it
say, not
becomes
nugging,
it
tugging.
becomes annoying because you're trying to fit someone in a space that does not work for them. And for me, that was like if I was talking to somebody who's not a believer and I'm just like, I mean, but he's cool though. Like he's mad nice. Like he's kind. He's really
Right. He's a good
cheerful.
person.
He's a good person. He's funny. He's dope. Like he got real good things going for him. Like all of the things, but at the core of it all, you don't care about Jesus. I can't. I that is not gonna work for me. But that only came out of me learning myself, knowing what I want, saying what I want, like talking about those things, like actively talking about those things with Jesus, like this is what I want, this is how I feel, this is what's happening. Because otherwise, I I was definitely not the person that was going to just open up like that. And singleness for me taught continued to teach me what the levels and depths of vulnerability, honesty, transparency,
Yes.
power, definitely powerful. Um, and myself as a woman, myself as a believer, myself as a lover of life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it taught me, that was a time to teach me so many things about myself. But it only happened when I said, okay, I'll learn. I'll learn this. Like,
Right.
it's yeah, it's not, I would not say for me it was easy at all, um but I recognize how valuable it has been.
You know, the other thing that I think about is how you say, I learned this prior to, I think, us being friends, but then also you said this a lot, the value of friendships
Oh yeah,
before
I was coming for that one too.
before before getting into a
Yep.
relation, like a romantic relationship. So
Yeah.
the one thing,
Yeah.
this woman, I keep on thanking God for her. I mean, God has given me a lot of beautiful people, a lot of older people who taught me a lot of things, and one of them out of a lot is her name is Carolyn. And Carolyn, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she said something along the lines of like, don't despise where you are now, and use it, steward it wisely. The relationships you do have. And so at the moment, I was not in a relationship. I was probably single for like 3 years at that point. And she was telling me that, your friendships like help create that habit, creates like beautiful habits, or it's up to you actually what habits you create in order to have a healthy relationship with your husband. So obviously it's not specifically only for the relationship with your husband,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
but you can
yeah,
learn a lot and
yeah.
grow from your relationships with your friends. And then I met Tracy, and then we became friends. And then she always talks about like how, a lot of her friendships prepared her for her relationship now,
A lot
to
of
be
mercy.
vulnerable, to be truthful,
A lot of mercy.
like to be aware of the person's feelings and
Yeah, yeah.
um
I definitely would, just for that part itself. I remember being a person who felt like, and I hate the word that just popped into my head, but like bulldoze. Like I would bulldoze your feelings. Like I didn't really
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
naturally, like I wasn't naturally caring about your feelings. You know what I'm saying? The
Yes,
person.
yes, yes, yes,
And
yes.
so these relationships, like, and I will definitely say, oh my gosh, I tell, I'm telling you, the moment I met my fiance, I was like, I told Janelle, I was like, nah, if I wasn't in relationship with the women that I am in relationship with, I would have never been able to talk to this guy, like ever, because I would have been like, what, like, quick, and it's and that's a defense mechanism. You know what I'm saying? Like that ain't really how you feel, but it's a defense mechanism to
It's
like
that, right.
put that wall up, to
Hmm.
keep distance, maintain distance. Yet vulnerability is like, yo, that really hurt me, or that offended me, putting words to what I'm feeling. And I learned that with my friends, with my female
Hmm.
friends,
Right, just
having to
friendship.
have, yeah, like just having to have conversation, having to have difficult conversations or hard conversations with my female friends, y'all, is a big deal, because by the time I get to have a conversation with my fiance who's upset about something, or who may be frustrated about something,
Because
or
Tracy want to take another picture for whatever reason.
she said, and he'd be
Or
like,
he's like, or she's like, babe, I need to spend this on the wedding, and he's
and
like,
he,
For what?
what
He
for
don't
what?
understand we need
Right.
candles from this place and not from Walmart. I mean, Walgreens.
Right. Not from Walgreens, lot of mercy. That is a story I must tell
It's
y'all.
hilarious, and I
Okay.
totally understand because what, I have a husband, and they don't understand that. They don't get the
Yo,
significance.
it's crazy. But like I literally know. I mean, yeah. I mean, time and time again, I know for a fact, like there's, I even had just as a quick story, specifically, I didn't recognize um how important it was for me to feel like time was spent with me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't
Mm.
know how to say those things.
Is
Like
that your first love language? Your top love language?
yes, but I didn't know how to articulate that. And I mean, man, yo, like I know I say this story probably every season at least once, but when it was when Janelle took me to
Oh,
the
the tree.
Rockefeller to see the tree, I felt like I was like, she, like there was a form of love that she gave me that she didn't even understand the levels that I
We
needed
got
it.
hot chocolate and we walked. I like that
I
stuff
was like,
too.
she's my man. Like, what is she doing? And I don't even like women. But I
Not in
was
that
like,
way, right?
yo, you're like my man. Like, even like I like last week, or yeah, last week I was with um my matron of honor, Marsha, right? And Marsha was like, so what you getting to eat? She was ordering food, and she's like, oh yeah, I ordered your food. this is what I got you. And I was like, why do you know my order? You're
Wait,
like,
what is it? Salad? Like, what do you like
no,
rice?
Thai. She knew
Oh.
exactly what I wanted and how I wanted. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it made a huge difference for me because that makes me feel seen. That makes me feel loved. And it takes relationships like this for me to be in a relationship with my fiance, to be able to say these are the things that I need in order
Mm.
for me to feel loved. That's what makes me feel loved. Like, I know I'm loved, but when you're asking, do I feel loved? And feel loved is, you took me to Rockefeller Center to see the Christmas tree. You knew my order. You paid so much attention to me and what I would eat, that you knew my order off rip. You love me. I literally was like, yo, like, you're like
You
you're
pay
my,
attention, yeah.
yeah, like, you pay
Yeah,
attention.
you know, it's y- recently I have been going over Psalms 139 a lot. And when you read that, I think that chapter shows the most about God knowing us. I
Mm,
mean, I think throughout the Bible, he shows that he knows us,
mhm,
but like that particular chapter, it really breaks down how intricately he designed us and how much he knows us, right? And it makes you feel really good when you read that chapter and not
mhm,
just breeze through it, but like you really go in. And that's why Tracy feels that way, because somebody paid attention
mhm,
and they knew her.
mhm,
But it comes from God. Like God
mhm. Absolutely.
really truly know, well, he knows us because he created us. Like we are his design, like, hands down.
Yeah.
Um, but it really does make you feel loved when you read about how much he knows us and how much he loves us, and how, like, it says that we are woven in our mother's womb. Like when you
Mhm,
weave something together, you don't plaster it together, you
mhm,
knit it together, and you make sure that everything is delicately put together and intertwining with one another. And so that's why that's like a glimpse of, honestly, God loving her as well, you know.
yep,
Like I
yep.
truly believe that God loves me through my friends and through my husband, through my family. He uses people to love us as well. So
Mm.
y'all, is the dude or the woman you are interested in, if they don't know how to be led by God, then how, I mean, they could be used by God in different ways, but like to really be used by God to love you, and for God to really use you to love them, they have to have a relationship with God, like for real, like hands down.
And
And
I know people see that as like it's not that serious. It
yeah,
really
yeah, I
is.
thought so too.
It
Until I
really it
realized it
really
really
is
is.
for you. It really is for you.
It really is though. It's kind of like, so for example, one of my this is several. I have several examples because guess what? I tried it several times. I'm laughing at myself because I'm like, did you not learn from the first or second time? Guess not. So like one of the guys I was dating, after a while, I was like, I don't think God wants me to do that. Like it'll be something small, like, I don't know. I shouldn't go to that thing, or I shouldn't do that thing. And he's like, I don't understand. It's not that serious. And then it will be pressure to go. And it's like, nah, we're not on the same page. Like, leave me, even if you don't understand, leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, like the abstinent thing. Like, I don't believe that I should be having sex right now. Why not?
Mhm.
We love each other. We're gonna be I had a guy tell me we're gonna marry each other anyway. This was not Warner Miller, by the way. This
My
is not my husband
gosh.
saying that.
Yo,
It was some
yo,
other
listen.
dude who we never got
That's a
married.
real line. That's a real line though.
Absolutely, because we were together for so long and we thought that we were going to be together. Anyway, the point is, once I started having an intimate, deep, committed relationship with God, we just parted ways. And honestly, we got on each other's nerves because, like, the things that I wanted to do or not do, he wasn't for it. And how could I blame him? Because, yo, he never showed me truly
Mm-hmm.
that he was committed to God, you know? So it's like you're expecting this man to be something that he's not, you know? And then
Mm-hmm.
he was expecting me to be somebody that I'm not. And we needed to just let each other go. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not only about, definitely, it's not only about your relationship with Jesus. Like, that's the main thing. Because when you're walking with somebody, they either can pull you towards where they're going, or you pull them to where you're going. So it's not the best influence for you, but it's also about the everyday things that you do and you want to be a part of. And it's the fundamental principles of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
when you have children, forget about it. And when you want to put money together and like choose how you're going to use
Out
your
of
money together,
mercy. Lord.
forget about it. Honey,
That's a whole other
it's
that's a
it's
whole
hard
nother
enough.
piece.
It's right. It's hard enough to be in relationship because you're two different people from two different backgrounds, right? So let me
Yeah.
tell you a story. Not a story, but like let me tell you. My husband and I were both black. So like I'm saying if I was with someone from a different race, it would be okay to be with someone from a different race, but there's still be that difference that we would have to work out, right? But me
Yeah,
and my
of
husband are
course.
black.
There's still nuances.
Right. So just to give you an idea, we have a lot in common and we still bump heads.
Yeah.
So my husband and I are black. He has a Caribbeanish background. I have more of a Caribbean background. We both are really truly believers in God. We both are into youth ministry. We both are into media like ministry, sort of like using telling stories about and sharing God in that way. We have a lot in common. We both like to exercise, we both like to eat healthy, but then we also like to eat trash. Like we have a lot of things that we have in common, and we still bump heads on things. Why? Because he is not me
Yeah.
and I am not him.
Yeah.
So imagine saying I am Christian and you're Muslim and we want to raise our children, huh? I mean, people do it. It's just that
Yeah.
one person is going to compromise more than the other, or y'all both are not going to have
The
that.
fullness of the relationship that
Yeah,
you
so
could have with some, like with not even with a person, but the fullness of the relationship that you could have as a believer. Like I don't know if you'd have the fullness of that relationship because there's so many things that you're navigating. Like, do I read this or do I not talk about this with my partner? Am I not allowed to talk about this with you because that's not what you believe? And now that becomes um, tension, or that builds contention in our relationship because I can't share that with you, or I start to share that with other people. And now I am, it kind of diminishes the sanctity of the relationship that you have with Jesus. um
yeah, yeah,
and that's a struggle. That's hard. You know what I'm saying? That's hard because I know that we desire love, and as we desire love, we desire to do whatever it is to get that love. And um sometimes it ends up looking like we are in relationship with people that it's not actually as sustainable as we may think.
yeah. Because I mean, so what we're saying is what the Bible says. Be evenly yoked, and for at first I was like, what eggs got to do with this? And it the Bible's not talking about eggs. It's talking about the yoke that is connecting to animals together, and it connects them by their neck. So clearly, obviously as human beings, we're not going to physically have a yoke. But when two animals walk together and they're yoked together, if they are going down the same path, they can really do some, they can really create leeway and like actually like get whatever they need to get done well, because they're in the same walking down the same path. But what if one is like this way and the other one is straight? Who's where you going? Are you going to move to the left, or are you going straight, or one is to the left and one's to the right? It's just really hard to like go through life like that. It is.
Yeah.
And the Bible says it clearly, because God knows, like, yo, it doesn't work well.
Mm-hmm.
Be with someone who has the same fundamental principles as you, Now they don't have to like all the same things. I love eating eggs. My husband does not like eggs, and that is okay. I put mayo on things. He cannot stand it. That is okay. I don't know. I go. There's a lot of things that he doesn't understand why I want a baby shower. He's like, "What do I have to come?" Like we're different, but there's a lot of things that we have in common, and it's the fundamental principles. It's the basis of our lives. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
many things. So many things.
So ultimately, that's the point of, dating with purpose. Dating with purpose looks like, yeah, of course, you can date, but one, what is your intention behind dating? Why
Yes.
now? Why are you dating? Who is it that you are dating? Are you
Yeah.
clear on why you are dating?
What type of guy or type
What
of
type
woman?
of
Yeah.
person you are looking for? And ultimately, at the forefront, at the base level, at the left, right, and center of it all, is that person, are you and that person equally yoked? And that doesn't necessarily mean like y'all need to be exactly alike, but it's, if your relationship with Jesus, and this is an if, right? If your relationship with Jesus is zero zero zing zing to you, like it's the absolute most important thing for you, then if you are with someone who they pray to Allah, then that would be very, that would potentially have quite the difficulties. And relationships are difficult already, because you're working on it. And so being able to say like, okay, this person, you and I see each other eye to eye in a way that matters most. Now, if your relationship with Jesus is not at the forefront for you, then this obviously does not apply. But if it is, then yeah, like the way that you look at relationship does matter. The way
And
that you
you know,
look at who you're talking to matters.
the thing about me is that I always dated guys that confessed that they were believers, that they confessed that they were Christians. Always. Like I've never dated anyone who didn't confess that. Now,
And then what that life be like.
what is right? There was times that I saw the life that they lived and I knew it was different, but I was like, but they love God. They love Jesus. Yeah, in theory, like kinda as the form of godliness, but like the way they lived their life was different. And it's funny because my last boyfriend before I dated my husband, I avoided a relationship with him for like 5-6 years because I knew him since high school. And I think I avoided that relationship so much because of what I saw, what he put on Facebook. Point blank. This is before Instagram, which sounds so crazy. Um, what he put on Facebook. And of course, you can't get someone's entire life from social media, but it was consistent, y'all. It was like I'm popping bottles and I'm making money it seemed I'm popping bottles and it's all about what I look like. And when I started dating him, I mean, it kind of like aligned itself to that. And I still was like, well, he came to church with me. He raised his hand in worship and
Oh
he
my
got
gosh, the hand
baptized.
raise, y'all.
He
Bad.
went with me to the the young adult retreat. He even got baptized. Bro, he still wasn't about that life, and you were. And you were and I was increasingly getting closer and closer to God intentionally. And he wasn't. He just wasn't about that life. And I could not force him to, even though he said he was, even though he said he wanted to do it, it just wasn't. And
Mm,
I had to be real with myself. And guess what, y'all? He ghosted me. Tracy knows this story very well.
mm,
And
mm.
I think now that it was really God cutting the cord that I wasn't going to cut.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It'd be like that. It
Because
definitely
he
be.
knew my husband was three years later, but he knew he knew that Warner was coming. He knew, and I knew Warner at like some. I met him around that time, but like he wasn't my boyfriend. He wasn't somebody that was checking for me. But God knew, he knew way before I did, you know.
Mhm,
But not only that, like he knew what was best for me in my entire life, not just my dating life.
mhm, mhm,
So
mhm,
anyway.
mhm, mhm.
Oh, y'all. So many lessons,
Yes.
so many lessons.
So
I
many
hope
lessons,
y'all
but
got
please
something
be
from
sure
this.
to let us know what some of yours are.
I would
Or
love to
like
hear
what
it.
are, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, I'm done dating. It just means like, yo, I was talking to this person for 3 months and this is what I learned. Like, what is it that you learned? And you're like, we're no longer together, but I learned a lot over there.
I got something else to say. It gets even tighter. I dated a guy that I went to seminary with, which means he went to seminary because he was serious about God. At least most of them are. Some of them might not be. But anyway, he actually was. Like he actually had a like a real has a really strong relationship with God. Um and I knew that. So I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm getting closer to where I need to be." Child. That didn't work out either because I mean several reasons because he wasn't my husband, but also because like not on that's like the what trade you always say that's the like the entry level. That's like
Mhm.
that's the thing that's the starting point. Like
That's the starting point. Yeah.
right
Yeah.
when you have a
What else
relationship,
is there?
right, that's the starting point of your relationship. Okay, now you know this person actually has a like a intimate relationship with God. Then there's other things like do you know your personality and your mission in life. That is a bit I can go on and on about that. But there was so many other things that didn't align for him and I. For him, basically, it was a church that I went to. He didn't agree with the church that I went to. And
Mm.
so, there was a lot of things that didn't work out. But I'm telling y'all, it's not only about the relationship with God, but I would say, and Tracy would say, that is the first thing. That's the thing that you would need to know if you about that life with God
In order to
in order
even
to talk
get
to him and
past
her.
go.
Right. In order to talk to him or her, that's the first thing you need to see and you need to know.
Yeah.
In order to say, okay, I might invest some time into this.
Hmm.
I might.
Absolutely. Might.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
someone
Absolutely.
said, Sherry said, when it comes to my dating history, I learned not to settle. Absolutely. Don't
Yeah.
settle. Do not settle.
And everybody's settling looks very different, but
Yeah.
whatever your
Yeah.
understanding of settling is, yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Let's be a little clear. Like for me, this sounds so bad. Sorry, babe. I settled for a man who was shorter than I wanted to be. But that's okay
That's not
because
settling.
I guess some people would think that's settling, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
but it's not.
If that is the most important thing to you, then yes, some people would say
I
that
mean, I had a
that's
friend that was
settling.
like, if he's not 6 foot, I'm not talking to him. That was my
Yeah.
desire, but I said, but God was like, Janelle, you have to grow up because the man that I have for you may not be 6 foot. Oh well.
I think a settle to me in my mind is I settle to be with someone who doesn't even believe in the Lord, like believe in
Yeah, that's
and
settling.
and that's like, oh yeah, but I want a man, so
I'm
I'm gonna
gonna like what
so
I
to
did.
me,
Yeah.
like I mean I my fiance and I, we are the same. We are very much so like this. I mean, we wear the same size in everything. At
What?
like sneakers, I can wear his sneakers. He can wear mine. Like yes.
What?
And I had initially this is his polo shirt. Like yep, I can wear it. And thank you so
That's
much.
hilarious.
But if the word is to say subtle, and I know that that wasn't something I remember. One thing I did say, I wanted somebody who's 6'5". I'm 6'2", and we're the same height.
But that's
We
not
are
the
the same
important
height.
thing. That's not the important
Yeah,
thing.
but that could have that years ago that would have been me like, what?
I'm not
That's
settling.
a
Right.
settle. That is you settling. Like I ain't settling for nobody who's less than 6'5". Like
Or settling
what?
for someone with a child.
Right. Oh my gosh. And a lot of mercy. That was a thing. Yeah, because he has a son, and next next month it'll be ours. I'll be the bonus mom. Um, so
Mhm.
the reality is like that stuff. I I would have thought those things in my mind were settling, absolutely. But to me, the real settle for me, and this is just a personal thing, of the real settle for me is, so you just crickets on Jesus? Oh, okay, got it. That's settle. But I just want to be in a relationship. Why? Because you cute and I'm cute and we're gonna be cute together and it's gonna be cute on the grant. Is your life around the wow, okay. Crazy. But people really do have those thoughts. And that's honestly how it plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dealing with
Child.
purpose means absolutely, of course, not settling, but making sure that, like, if this person, if your desire is Jesus, then the person that you um are building a relationship with, the goal is they are too. Because otherwise, I mean, it's your deal. However you desire to do it, but I know I've seen it, I've experienced it myself. When it's not that serious for the other person, then somebody is like,
It's settling
oh,
and
I do
somebody's
it less, I
compromising.
do this less, I do that less, like, when you probably would see them all the time. And yeah. Hmm. So
Child.
yeah.
So many lessons. And I hope you guys learned from our mistakes and our wins. And I hope you see God in it. Like, I really do. Like, I think that God uses every aspect of our lives to show us who He is. And dating is one of them, just one of the many.
Yeah.
You know, some people don't include God in their dating life, which is not wise because He really knows the future, y'all. Like, He's all knowing and all powerful. Trust me, I used to try to X him out of my dating life too, but then He was like, "No, I'm coming in," and I was like,
And
"Okay." After a while, but
I'm opening this door.
yeah, and it just is. It would behoove you to allow Him to run that part of your life too, to run every aspect of your life, because it would really truly help you in the long run. You don't have to go through the heartache and pain. You don't you don't I went through a lot of heartache and pain, and a
And just
lot of
because a person is a believer, or says they are a
that doesn't
believer,
mean that you ain't getting it from them.
or says they are a pastor, or says they are a,
Ooh.
or is serving in ministry, or building whatever ministry, whatever it is, check the people out. You know what I'm saying? Check the people out, because you got to know if this is somebody that you genuinely desire to be with. Because people could tell you with their words that they are believers, and that that Jesus is Lord in their lives, and yet it don't add up
You
to
can't
you.
fake
And
that.
you
You can't fake that.
and you feel it, because the Holy Spirit will highlight that for you, and just let you know, like, that don't, that that don't feel right.
Yeah,
So
you
yeah.
can't fake that. You can't fake the funk, but for so long when it comes to that. So, with that being said, y'all, it's been real. Thank
It's
you.
been real, y'all.
We will see y'all
Listen,
next month, the month of
yes,
May.
in the month of May. But please make sure that
Oh,
you are tuning in. Make sure you are following, you are sharing, you are liking, you are commenting, you're subscribing. There's a lot happening um in this next
hmm.
month.
I gotta say this
So
one
yeah.
thing before we head off. So
Okay.
our friend Zushana, she said, "I learned it's okay to wait," and this is unlike me. She said, "I didn't date in high school or college. Not I did. A couple of dumb moments of styling for fake attention. We do that, but my first settling, sorry, for fake attention, but my first real boyfriend was my husband, and I met him in my 20s. That's what I meant when I say you don't have to go through the heartache and pain. I know a lot. I actually can think of a few people now who I was dating, and had boyfriends here and there, and they just waited, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, and it wasn't until they were like a little older in their 20s or maybe even 30s that they actually started like really like taking dating seriously. Because like I said, when you 14, who you marrying? You dating just to date at that point. When you 16, most likely, you might. Some people do. Most likely you're not gonna marry that person. But anyway, that's just another example. You don't have to date in high school or
Yeah,
junior high school or college. You don't have to. You can have
it's the junior high school for me.
good old friends. What? Listen, that's a whole we can have a whole topic on that. I know people who was dating, like really in relationships. Like, oh, you didn't buy me nothing for Valentine's Day. I'm like, y'all really committed in these streets, huh?
We're 12,
But you're 10, you're 12, you're 13, right? It's like,
but we're 11.
but we're 11
We're
and
in sixth grade. Like,
wearing training bras. So anyway,
yeah, yeah, right, right, right.
I know people who did that and was doing more than just saying they were like doing physical things.
Mm.
Whew. All right, y'all. Like Tracy said, like, subscribe, and share. We will see y'all next Tuesday.
Yes, yes. And as you already know, on this channel, we share our lives to encourage others to love Jesus, love themselves, and love others well. And please make sure that you absolutely are sharing this, that you are watching this, that you are liking it, like it, comment, subscribe. Seriously, though, y'all, we appreciate your time. And good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on what time you are watching this. But as you already know, this is our Tuesday Lives with Tray and Jea, and I'm Trey.
And I'm Jay. See you later.